So 3.5 years ago, I went to Amsterdam. It's my favorite place on earth. It's just so beautiful, the canals, the people, the bicycles everywhere, the gorgeous architecture. It really just feels like it's been plucked out of a fairy tale. And it's so different to anything that we have here in Australia. So I kind of wanted to do something that reminded me of one of my favorite cities on earth, which is Amsterdam, and build it in my Sims game. So today we're doing that. It is a cafe, another community lot. I'm building it out in Newcrest, but I think it would look good in Brightcaster or just about anywhere. It's just got such a romantic, beautiful, homey vibe about it. So I really hope you enjoy it. You can download it on the gallery at Brownflowersims, of course. And I am also in the process of updating my Tumblr so that it has all the tray files, so you can all download it as well if you don't have access to the gallery. Otherwise, that's about it. If you like the video, give it a big thumbs up. It really helps to support me out on the channel as I'm starting out. There's 100 of us now, just over, which is wild. I'm so stoked and thrilled and happy that you guys are along the journey. That you are with me on the journey with me? Yeah, that you're here in general. Thank you for joining me. So without further ado, we're gonna jump into it and I'll see you guys next week. Happy simming. Alright, so we're in Newcrest, of course, and we're on the lot that's originally called Oak Alcove. I love building on this lot. The fact that it's got a really nice park behind it and the shape, it's a 15 by 20 lot, so it's not too big, and I just love it. So the problem's going to be when I go to export my tray file and my save file for the entire neighborhood and figuring out what stays and what goes, because I do tend to build on the same lots kind of often, so hopefully that doesn't present a challenge for me later. But I was really inspired, as I mentioned in the intro, by Amsterdam. That said, this is definitely not meant to look like a photocopy of an Amsterdam cafe by any means. It's just inspired by, we are limited by what we have in the game already, and there's quite a few little things that have that romantic sort of look about them that I was trying to go for to have it tie in with Amsterdam. I think the green little shutters and the door, I think they're from Strangerville. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. I never play with that pack ever. I use the build buy items, but I've never actually done the gameplay from it. But I think they're all from that. And they're really cute. I like the colour, and it really inspired a lot of my other choices, the colour of those doors and windows. I was trying to see if I could make it more ornate around the front doors with a few columns, and I found those ones with the brick which tied in quite nicely. And I also used, what are they called? Those things that stick out. It starts with S, doesn't it? It's escaped me now, but I am putting those little decorative pieces on the outside up. And just making it look as ornate and sort of, you know, idyllic as I can. And I also have decided to go with this like glass atrium sort of lower level to let in heaps of natural light with those. So they're almost like geometric windows. They're quite Art Deco and modern at the same time. They're a bit of a weird mismatch of different styles, but I really like them, and I think that gives a bit of character to that atrium section of the build. And I also decided to use that filigree glass roof for the first time. And normally if I'm doing a glass roof, I just go for a plain glass or the rectangular pattern. But anyway, I'm putting in stairs now. I don't know if anyone else struggles with stairs, but oh my god, I find them so challenging. I just never know what way they're going to turn, and they just never fit together the way I want them to, and I have issues with landings all the time and wanting to create voids. I just have a lot of trouble with stairs. I don't know if anyone else is with me on that, but let me know in the comments below. But there is 3 stories to this house, so, well, it's not a house, sorry, it's a cafe. There are 3 stories to this cafe, and the reason that it needed to be so tall and big is because the narrow nature and the way that the architecture is in Amsterdam is that it's all really skinny and really tall. So that's sort of an inspiration there. And to get that sort of colonial art, or what's it called, like the overhang of the roof, that's sections of big fat architraves there. It goes from green and then there's 2 white ones. You have to have tall wall heights to get those as well, so This entire build is really tall and skinny. It's 3 stories. It's not very accessible, so if you've got older Sims, they're going to have to make their way up very slowly, or they're just going to have to stay on the bottom level. The way that I've sort of sectioned out what's on each level is at the bottom we have a cafe, at the top we have a cafe, and then in the middle we have almost like a skill building library study hangout spot. Because I chose lock traits for this, that was, I think I chose student hangout, convivial, and something else, I think study spot. So if your Sims come here, they're going to do really well with skill building. They're going to be able to finish off all of those pesky assignments while they enjoy a coffee. So anyway, I'm just filling out the actual cafe section now, and I wanted to have like a living wall or this really pretty sort of feature wall behind the cafe, and I was trying to put that object in there with the little growth patches and whatever, but it just had that weird shadow. I couldn't figure out why it was doing that weird shadow, so I end up going with something a bit different. But the entire vibe of this cafe is that it's sort of a mismatched old school sort of, I don't know the word, like it's almost got like a recyclable feel. It's definitely the wrong word, but an upcycled feel. It's got lots of different chairs, different tables. It's very mismatched, and at the same time there's lots of plants. It's overgrown. It's got this nice homey, comforting feel about it as well. I would love to have had a place like this cafe to study at and spend time at when I was at uni, and even when I was at high school finishing off our HSC, which are our big exams here in Australia. I would have just spent hours here, get a little pastry, hang out, and I wanted it to be really homey and approachable. So that's what I'm doing now. I end up changing those horrible floors that I have. The tiles aren't really conducive to that feel of home. So there you go, I've just put in some floorboards now, and for the most part this front entryway for the cafe is just sort of this nice little chilled zone. I imagine you would queue up at the front door to get your coffee for takeaway, or you can sit down at that little couch. That couch was definitely giving me Friends vibes, where they all hang out at Central Perk and they sit on the couch. So I put a couch in and a couple of armchairs and a bookcase. I just thought this would be kind of like a little bookshoppy type vibe, and the fact that people are going to be studying here, I thought it was quite nice to have a nod to that with a big beautiful bookcase. So I just toyed with putting in some armchairs, but I think I ran out of space because I really wanted there to be music. So you see me kind of struggling with that a little bit, but I put in that old record player. I think it's beautiful, and just a couple of sized up artworks, and I worked this whole downstairs area to try and be nice and homey and warm and inviting. And again, I changed the wallpaper as well for that reason. It was a bit cold having the same wallpaper as the outside on the inside of that like lime green. So I changed it to brick, and even though it's grey brick, which you would think, hey Lily, that's actually a bit colder, I think it just does something to really warm up the inside texturally, and just gives it a feeling that it's been built and been there forever, which I really like. And I'm just putting in a nice big table at the back here, and I'm mixing up all of the chairs to make it again look like it's just been reclaimed furniture, or furniture that's found a second home at this cafe. And just these cute little mosaic round tables for people to sit at as well. So there's like a bigger table at the back that I imagine you'd have your big group of friends with, and then those smaller little tables to sit around if you're just on your own or with one other person. And I really like everything about this downstairs area of the cafe. I think it's great. If I wasn't going for the Amsterdam architecture look, I could have just left it at this one story, but of course I had to make it really difficult for myself and do 2 more stories on top. But I was really happy with how this turned out. So you'll just see me continuously cluttering things up. I'm using a lot of furniture that would, that looks like it should be at someone's home, like this sideboard and everything. But I just think it's a nice touch to have that really homey look and feel. I absolutely am obsessed with that fiddle leaf fig I call it a fiddle leaf fig. It's not called that in the game, but that's what the plant looks like in real life, so I'm calling it a fiddle leaf fig. It's my favorite plant ever, especially when you scale it up, because fiddle leaf figs, God, say that 10 times fast. They grow into these enormous trees, or maybe it even is a rubber plant. Now that I'm looking at it in closer inspection, it could be a rubber plant, which is also a tree that can grow really big. So I always tend to scale those up and pop them in. I think I move them to the corner, yes I do. And otherwise I've just built out the bathroom there, not much to see, but I went with a bit of a groovy wallpaper with ferns on it. And now I'm just putting those mirrors in to give a bit more depth to that downstairs feel. I think when you add a mirror to the end of any large space, it really helps to make the space feel bigger. So that's what I was doing there. And now we're upstairs into the library. And I say library, but it's more of like a study zone, I guess. I've got 3 desks, I've got a whole bunch of bookcases in the middle, and just some skill building items around the outside. I have got a computer. The thing is that I get a bit annoyed with building really nice community lots, because I always end up playing the game and it has that stupid, what is it, sharing is caring thing on the community town vote thing, and people just steal all of the equipment and all the really nice stuff from my community builds. It's really frustrating, so I have to figure out a way to just turn that off for good in my game. I know you can vote against it, but that's just no use to me because I can't be bothered. I always forget to vote on community action plans. But anyway, that's a bugbear that I've mentioned in heaps of these videos now, so I'll stop banging on about it. But yeah, I'm just popping in some plants, making it again look really nice and homey, and lots of paintings and all sorts of things. This is the first time that I've used those little lights to create like stairwell lighting. I feel like that looks really realistic in that when you are walking upstairs, they do have those floor wall lights down from the side. So I thought that was a nice nod to realism there. And now we're up at the very top, and so upstairs is another cafe. I imagine that this space would be like you could book it out, or if it was really busy, maybe on the weekends on Saturday and Sunday, then you've got the second cafe up the top to accommodate. But now that I've played this back, and it's been a few days since I actually built this, in fact it's been over a week, I'm kicking myself because I kind of wish that I'd left this upstairs area free for a wedding space with like an arch and like all of the seating and road seatings, the aisle seating, sorry, with really beautiful flowers. I just think that this would be such a nice spot to have your Sims get married, purely because you can then go downstairs, there's food, there's things to do, and it's just a little bit different than the whole church vibe or just chucking a altar thing. What's it called? The arch, a wedding arch just in the park, which is what I normally do. I just go and chuck an arch in and then you're good to go. Get your Sims get married. Or worse, I just make them elope immediately because I'm lazy. But I've got to be better at that. I think that one of the next venues that I do, I'll make a wedding venue, just because why not, you know? Like, why not do something cute that's really theme specific? I have a restaurant coming out next week, or maybe the week after, depending if I build anything better in the meantime. But at the moment, next week's build is going to be this really beautiful restaurant with this lake. It's gorgeous, and I am kind of on a bit of a community lot vibe at the moment. I'm really enjoying it, so you'll probably see a few more of those to come, and one of those will be a wedding venue. I'll say it now so that I hold myself to it. But yeah, stay tuned and look forward to that. I've never actually played with Dine Out from a gameplay perspective before, and so I think that that's going to hurt me a little, in that I don't want to forget things or miss out on furniture that I need, or just little nifty tips and tricks. But I'm hoping that I can still pull a really nice restaurant out of my back pocket. If you don't have any tips at all, like, please let me know in the comments. And better yet, if you've played Dine Out, what are some of the like styles of restaurant that you prefer? I like to go more fine dining, you know, expensive, like degustation, 8 courses, that sort of vibe in the game. Don't think that you can do that. As I said, I haven't played it yet, so I haven't checked. I know that you can have more of like a fast food vibe. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure what I should make my restaurant. It's definitely not going to be fast food, and it's not going to be all cheap and weird. But yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below, and what other community lots you'd like to see, because I obviously am building out Newcrest as a whole, and I want to be able to create an entire save file neighborhood for you where you just have everything and you're not waiting on anything to be added. I have already recorded a gym, which I was quite happy with, but I think I might redo it again just to finesse it and make it really nice. And I also need to figure out where I'm going to lay everything out, because similar to this video, I have lots that are my favorite and I tend to stay with them, and it's a problem then when I have to lay everything out and put things back into the game that I really like, and having them fit the tiles properly and the amount of space I have. I also really wish we had in game the ability to, or like the houses that we used to get in The Sims that would have uneven terrain and be built on a hill, or like, you know, all slopey. I think that that would be my dream, having to work with the terrain. I think that that would just lend itself really well to the realism of real life, which everybody knows I'm all about. I love building things that could exist in reality. It's my favorite, it's my jam. So yeah, hopefully that's something that we see in future updates. I would love to know what you guys are also planning to, or hoping for, that you'll see in the game as well. And fingers crossed that EA actually gives it to us. We're coming up, I think, to the end of the video now, and I'm going to show you some fly-throughs and screenshots and all that jazz. But if you did like the video, please give it a big thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I put out a new video every Tuesday, and I've mentioned in my previous videos that I'm working on a series that's going to be how to be a better builder, and it takes you through all of the things to do, from inspiration through to editing thumbnails and actually getting your content live onto YouTube if this is something you're interested in doing yourself. So stay tuned for that in future weeks, and otherwise I will see you guys next Tuesday. Have a good one.